The entertainment world was left stunned yesterday when Wang Yibo, the superstar who has dominated both acting and music scenes, finally reunited with his former UNIQ bandmates after years of separation. But what should have been a heartwarming moment quickly turned into a dramatic spectacle that has fans and industry insiders buzzing with speculation. The reunion, which took place at a private event in Beijing, became the talk of social media within hours as leaked photos and videos showed Wang Yibo in an unexpectedly emotional embrace with his former group members. But the real shock came from an unexpected source. Xiao Zhan, who was present at the event, appeared visibly uncomfortable and, according to multiple eyewitness accounts, clearly displeased with the affectionate display between Yibo and his former bandmates. What really happened behind closed doors? Why did Xiao Zhan's reaction become so obvious that even casual observers couldn't help but notice? And most intriguingly, what was the real reason Wang Yibo chose this particular moment to introduce Xiao Zhan to his UNIQ brothers? The answers to these questions are more complex and emotionally charged than anyone could have anticipated, revealing a web of relationships, loyalties, and tensions that have been brewing beneath the surface of the entertainment industry for years. The unexpected reunion that nobody saw coming. Wang Yibo's journey from UNIQ member to solo superstar has been nothing short of extraordinary. Since leaving the group to pursue individual projects, he has become one of China's most recognizable faces, starring in hit dramas like The Untamed, and establishing himself as a formidable presence in both acting and music. His success has been meteoric, transforming him from a group member into a household name with millions of devoted fans worldwide. But despite his incredible achievements, those closest to Wang Yibo have long suspected that he never truly forgot his roots with UNIQ. The group, which debuted in 2014 under UNIQ Entertainment, was Wang Yibo's first taste of professional entertainment success. The bonds formed during those early years of training, performing, and struggling together created relationships that industry insiders believed would last a lifetime. However, as Wang Yibo's solo career skyrocketed, contact with his former bandmates became increasingly rare. Fans noticed the absence of social media interactions, the lack of public acknowledgments, and the seeming distance that had grown between Yibo and the members who had once been like brothers to him. Speculation ran wild about potential conflicts, management disagreements, or simply the natural drift that occurs when careers take different paths. The truth, as it emerged yesterday, was far more emotionally complex than anyone had imagined. According to sources close to the situation, Wang Yibo had been struggling with guilt and nostalgia about his UNIQ days for months. The success of his solo career, while personally fulfilling, had created an unexpected emotional burden. He felt as though he had abandoned the people who had supported him during his most vulnerable early years in the industry. This internal conflict had been building for so long that when the opportunity finally arose to reunite with his former bandmates, Wang Yibo's emotional response was far more intense than anyone, including himself, had anticipated. The embrace that shocked onlookers was not just a greeting between former colleagues, but a release of years of pent-up emotion, guilt, and genuine affection. The moment that changed everything. The private event where the reunion took place was supposed to be a low-key industry gathering, attended by various artists, managers, and entertainment professionals. Wang Yibo had arrived with Xiao Zhan, who had been his close companion and rumored romantic interest for several years. The two had been inseparable in recent months, with their relationship becoming an open secret within industry circles. Though neither had officially confirmed their romantic involvement, Xiao Zhan, who had his own successful career as an actor and singer, had grown accustomed to being Wang Yibo's primary emotional support and closest confidant. Their relationship, whether romantic or simply an intensely close friendship, had become the foundation of Wang Yibo's emotional stability during his busiest and most successful period. When Wang Yibo spotted his former UNIQ members across the room, witnesses described a dramatic shift in his demeanor. The usually composed and somewhat reserved superstar suddenly became visibly emotional, his carefully maintained public persona cracking as years of suppressed feelings came rushing to the surface. The embrace that followed was unprecedented in its intensity. Wang Yibo, who is known for his reserved nature and careful control of his public image, threw his arms around each of his former bandmates with a desperation that shocked everyone present. The hugs lasted far longer than typical greetings, and several witnesses reported seeing tears in Wang Yibo's eyes as he held onto his former group members. But it was Xiao Zhan's reaction that truly made the moment unforgettable. Standing several feet away, Xiao Zhan watched the reunion unfold with an expression that witnesses described as a mixture of confusion, hurt, and unmistakable jealousy. For someone who had become accustomed to being the center of Wang Yibo's emotional world, seeing his companion display such raw affection for others was clearly difficult to process. The tension in the room became palpable as the embrace continued. Other attendees began to notice the drama unfolding, with some discreetly recording the moment on their phones. Xiao Zhan's discomfort became increasingly obvious as he shifted his weight, crossed his arms, and appeared to struggle with how to respond to the situation. Xiao Zhan's jealousy becomes impossible to ignore. What happened next has become the subject of intense speculation and analysis among fans and industry observers. As Wang Yibo continued his emotional reunion with his UNIQ brothers, Xiao Zhan's discomfort evolved into something far more complex and troubling. According to multiple eyewitness accounts, Xiao Zhan initially attempted to maintain his composure, understanding that this was an important moment for Wang Yibo. However, as the minutes passed and Wang Yibo remained deeply engaged with his former bandmates, Xiao Zhan's emotional state began to deteriorate visibly. The jealousy that emerged was not the petty kind often seen in celebrity conflicts. Instead, it appeared to be a deep, visceral reaction to seeing Wang Yibo share intimate emotional moments with people who had known him long before their own relationship began. Xiao Zhan, who had believed himself to be Wang Yibo's closest confidant and emotional anchor, was suddenly confronted with the reality that there were others who held equally important places in his companion's heart. Industry insiders who witnessed the scene described Xiao Zhan's reaction as heartbreaking. Rather than anger or petulance, he displayed what appeared to be genuine hurt and confusion. His usual confidence and charisma seemed to evaporate as he watched Wang Yibo laugh, cry, and reminisce with his former bandmates in a way that Xiao Zhan had never seen before. The situation became even more complicated when Wang Yibo, in his emotional state, began sharing memories and inside jokes with his UNIQ brothers that clearly excluded Xiao Zhan. The language barrier, combined with the deep history between the former bandmates, created an invisible wall that separated Xiao Zhan from the group despite his physical proximity. Several witnesses reported seeing Xiao Zhan attempt to join the conversation multiple times, only to be inadvertently excluded as the UNIQ members fell back into their familiar dynamic. The pain on his face became increasingly difficult to ignore, and several other attendees began to feel uncomfortable watching the drama unfold. The introduction that shocked everyone just when it seemed like the situation couldn't become more emotionally charged, Wang Yibo made a decision that stunned everyone present. In what appeared to be an attempt to bridge the gap between his past and present, he decided to formally introduce Xiao Zhan to his UNIQ brothers. But this introduction was unlike anything anyone had expected. Instead of the casual, friendly greeting that might have been anticipated, Wang Yibo's introduction was deeply personal and emotionally charged. He spoke about Xiao Zhan in terms that suggested their relationship was far more significant than previously understood, using language that implied both deep affection and a level of intimacy that surprised even those who had suspected their romantic involvement. The UNIQ members' reaction to this introduction was mixed and complex. While they were polite and welcoming to Xiao Zhan, there was clearly an underlying tension as they processed the implications of what Wang Yibo was sharing. Some appeared genuinely happy for their former bandmate, while others seemed concerned about the intensity of the relationship being described. For Xiao Zhan, the introduction was both validating and overwhelming. On one hand, Wang Yibo's public acknowledgement of their relationship's importance was clearly meaningful to him. On the other hand, the emotional context of the moment, combined with his own feelings of jealousy and exclusion, made it difficult for him to fully appreciate the gesture.